Hey Nation, what is going on? I'm so happy to bring you How to Draw an Octopus with Brian Kesinger. So for those of you who are just now tuning in, he's like, hello. Let us know where you are tuning in from. And we're going to wait a little while for people to join us in here in the show. But really excited to bring you Brian Kessinger's work. And as I am inviting people in, Brian, why don't you go ahead and tell people what began your fascination with the octopus?
Sure thing. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks everyone for tuning in and joining us. I would say for me, what got me interested in the octopus was a very roundabout way, and I had kind of come by it through the, I guess you call it the subgenre of steampunk.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that don't know what steampunk is, it's kind of a retro future, alternate history sort of science fiction. And one of the big mascots, for whatever reason, which can be a whole nother episode
Mm-hmm.
of steampunk, is the octopus. And I had designed a T-shirt for a steampunk competition, and my design was of a girl walking a pet octopus, and super random, but ended up winning the competition and kind of going viral.
Wow.
And so these characters kind of stuck with me. These characters became known as Otto and Victoria. And the more I drew them, the more I did research on the actual animal of the octopus,
Mm-hmm.
and just found them to be so fascinating, so unique, so complex, that I just can't get enough of them.
Yeah, and so another fun fact about Brian is he's the youngest person to have ever been hired at Disney Animation Studios at the age of 18. And so you are about to learn from somebody who spent his whole entire career doing what
Yeah.
he's about to do. So you're learning from the best here. So just honored to have you teaching OctoNation. And so you mentioned that the drawing that inspired it all was that steampunk, that Victorian girl walking an octopus. How did it progress into what it is today?
So after that initial design was done, there was an opportunity for another competition.
Mm-hmm.
And that competition, I thought, oh, great, I'll do another design with those two characters, which at that time they were not named.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, they weren't even in color. They were more like in sepia
Yeah.
tones to give it that steampunk look. Um, and then I started doing the second design, and I read over the rules of the competition. And the rules for this specific competition stated that any design submitted would become the property of that company, of that website.
Ah.
And that gave me a moment to stop and think and say, oh, I kind of like these characters. Maybe I don't want to give them away.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up not submitting my design, but noticed that I could still keep sketching
Mm-hmm.
with these, and I have more and more ideas of these characters. So I would just draw them in almost like one panel comic scenes of all the pros and cons of having a pet octopus, and would post those on my Facebook art page, and people really seemed to dig them. And by the time that I had 10 or 15 of them illustrated, came in contact with a book publisher who said, have you ever thought of doing a book with these characters? And as you mentioned, I'd only worked in film. I'd only been in animation
Mm-hmm.
my whole career. So books weren't really on my radar as far as writing and illustrating. But I did. And the first book was Walking Your Octopus, which the subtitle being A Guidebook to the Domesticated Cephalopod. And it is a very kind of Monty Python inspired, humorous look at what it would be like to own your own pet octopus.
Yes. That's so awesome. And so I was letting us talk for a little bit because I wanted to make sure that everybody who wanted to figure out how to make it here could make it here. And so we have
Yeah.
hundreds of people here now watching and cannot wait to learn how to draw an octopus from Brian Kesinger himself. And I was showing them earlier because I have this scarf here that actually one of my friends gave me. Here's Otto.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I have him here. And so really excited. And so where do you even start? And what tools or materials do the people at home need, just so maybe they could run and grab them?
Yeah, this will be great. You won't need much. In fact, you'll see them on your screen. I'm sorry, I'm kind of a disembodied voice, but it's easier for me to just focus the camera on the art so you guys can see what I'm doing. But really just pencil and piece of paper. It can be printer paper from your printer. It can be lined paper if that's all you have. It could be, cardboard. It's pretty easy. I am going to start with a blue pencil, just because I like doing my roughs in blue, and then I'll go through with the darker lead pencil. But you can certainly just use a lead pencil. Just do the initial steps as you follow along a little lighter. Don't press too hard with the pencil, and you'll get the same effect. But I just like doing the blue pencil.
So we have a lot of people tuning in. We have people from all over the world too. We have Spain, we have Georgia, we have the United Kingdom, we have Denmark.
Wow.
Everybody, let me know where you're tuning in from. Fairfax, California. We have Houston. We have Berlin. We have Australia. We have Germany.
The whole world.
Yeah, we have the whole world here. We have Las Vegas, Oregon, Bay Area, California, Rockford, Illinois. Let us know who you're doing crafts with. So how many people do you have with you? Do you have your kids with you? Let us know. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We have Arizona.
Wow.
Australia again. Tucson, Arizona. France, Bordeaux.
Oh, man.
We have Belize, Mexico.
Incredible.
Really, everybody from all over the world. And
yeah. No pressure.
And yeah, and also we have Reno, Nevada, Chicago, San Diego's in the house. I mean, everybody's coming in. Austria.
Oh, I love it.
So,
love it.
And if you guys have ever drawn an octopus before, if this is your first time drawing an octopus, put in the comment section that it's your first time and you are so excited to learn. We'd like to know if it is your first time drawing an octopus. So
yeah,
we'll let you take it away. I know a lot of people are really, really excited. Somebody said that they're using Procreate to follow along.
Oh, awesome.
So
yeah, that's great. I love Procreate. It's kind of what I do a lot of my work in. So yeah, you can definitely follow along Procreate. You can follow along in Photoshop. That's the kind of great thing about drawing is once you know how to do it, you can kind of do it on anything.
Yeah.
So,
and me and Brian will let you know that for those of you who are drawing and if you share your finished product with us using hashtag Brian Kesinger, and you can see his name right down here, I have it written out, or if you do hashtag OctoNation, if you tag both of those things on Instagram, let us know, because we are giving out prizes for those of you who show us your finished octopus, show us your finished work, and we're really excited to do that. So why don't we just take it away, Brian?
Cool. Well, I'll start really at the basics, kind of a little warm-up exercise that I find is really handy, whether you draw a lot or you haven't drawn in a while. And that's just taking, a part of your page, and much like you would stretch before doing a workout and that sort of thing, you want to kind of stretch mentally and get your hand moving. So we're just going to draw circles, and I want you guys to kind of feel these circles. And, this is going to feel a little silly at first, but you'll see where it just helps out your rhythm. Because what I don't want you all to be doing right now is this is not how we're going to be drawing. We're not going to be drawing little, calm, precise things. Because A, your hand will cramp up a lot easier, and B, the drawing just won't have the warmth and the dimension that it can have when you work a little more loosey.
Oh, the comment section has quieted down. People are all drawing. For those of you, just let us know. I want to make sure in the beginning, if y'all can see it, okay. So everyone's saying, I see a hidden Mickey.
Oh yeah, there might be a few of those showing.
I want to make sure
right?
that you guys can see okay before we begin, though. So let us know in the comment section if you can see, or if you want us to turn the lights down a little bit, or how you guys feel about it.
Yeah, but I want you to notice too that I'm moving my whole hand. I'm not just moving my fingers. See the difference? That's moving the fingers. I'm moving my whole hand. I'm actually moving my whole arm. This is something that's really going to loosen you up, because where do you start on an octopus? You start with a circle. Like most characters, actually, you start with a circle. And again, I want you to work a little bit on your the amount of pressure you're putting on your pencil. Right now, it's pretty light. If I wanted to, you can see as I apply more pressure, the circle is getting darker, right? We don't want to start at that level of darkness, even if you're using a black pencil, right? You know, inherently it's a little darker, but you can see when I really press down, it's darker. We want to start in the lighter range, and we really just want to get loose and get comfortable. This also takes away some of the intimidation that's sometimes associated with the blank page. But there it almost looks like a bunch of little bubbles, right? Like we're headed down underneath the water, down to where the octopus lives.
And we have Audrey Jenkins who says, fast or slow, you still draw a perfect circle. We are not worthy.
That's funny. Well, I've had a few years of practice. But again, these sort of exercises will help you loosen up. So now that we're all kind of loose and stretched and got kind of the first marks on the page, we're going to grab a clean sheet, or you can use the same sheet and just move down a little bit if we want to save some supplies, which I might do actually. I'm just going to move the paper down a little bit. And we're going to go through and start our octopus. Now, I'll tell you before we start that probably one of the hardest things to draw are animals. But that said, one of the easiest animals to draw that I've found is actually the octopus. So you're in good hands, and it's a great place to start. One of the reasons why octopuses are so much easier to draw is they don't have the traditional skeletal structure of a lot of animals, right? Mm-hmm. And Warren can certainly fill you in on some of those details.
So somebody asked, counterclockwise or clockwise?
Oh, that's funny. I tend to, I never thought about that, but it looks like inherently I go counterclockwise. In fact, if I try to go the other way, that feels weird to me. So, but I'm also right-handed. I wonder if that changes if you're left-handed. You should let us know what you guys do. But I want you to start by just drawing a circle. Right? Okay, we're going to start our octopus. So I just want you guys to feel out and find a nice circle on your page. Just like that. Great. And then I want you to go ahead and cut this circle in half with a line. And go ahead and make that line longer than the circle itself. Does that make sense? So it's going to go past the circle a little bit and go down the circle, down past the bottom of the circle, almost by another circle's length, if not a little longer. Right? So it looks like we have a lollipop on our page right now, right? A delicious blue lollipop. So now what I want to do is at the bottom of this circle, we're going to go and do two little lines on either side, like so. Kind of like a C shape, a very shallow C shape. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to connect those two C shapes, those two curves, with this sort of upside down rainbow, right?
Gabby just called me out. She said, "Warren, why are you not drawing?" Okay, I got.
Oh, that's right. Come on now.
I'll,
No one gets to get away
I'll
easy.
go get a pen real quick. 1 second.
Great. So just to recap, we've drawn our circle. We've cut the circle in half. And we've added a couple of lines here, a couple of lines here. And then this big kind of upside down rainbow. So for context, you can see we're working on the big kind of head of the octopus here. And then this shape down here is going to kind of represent the webbing between the tentacles that we're going to be adding. So with that there, we're going to add 2 smaller circles. And these 2 small circles are really, they're helpful in drawing the octopus, but they're also helpful in identifying this octopus as Otto, which is my character. And we'll give you bonus credit if you know who Otto is named after. I've mentioned it a few times in interviews and podcasts before. So let's see if anyone here knows the origin of his name. You can see I'm putting these 2 circles on either side, kind of where the circle intersects with this bottom shape there.
Did anyone else just get really excited about seeing Otto's eyes? Like I can see Otto. I saw Otto start to come to life, and I immediately got super excited because if you look at Otto right here or whatever, I was like, oh, that's Otto. I started freaking out just a little bit. I couldn't be the only one. Somebody says Braxton Huxley.
No, but good guess. Good guess.
We're still guessing who Otto's named after.
Yes.
Keep the guesses coming.
Keep them coming, and we'll keep this looking more like Otto. Inside each one of these circles, the telltale expression. He doesn't have much, but he does have happy eyes. So we're going to give 2 little rainbows in the middle of those circles you just added. This is kind of his default. He's a very happy octopus.
I love his eyes.
And it's very interesting when designing a character how important the eyes are. In fact, they're sometimes so important that it's really all you need. I know that when we were designing the character of Baymax for Big Hero 6, we went round and round with the character designers about, what should Baymax's face look like. In some early versions, he did have a mouth, and we kept simplifying, taking away all the extra. We really wanted him to be an appealing character, a huggable character. And we realized that we could strip everything away and keep those eyes. And it almost allows the viewer to project even more emotion into the character. So definitely with Otto, there's a lot of that going on.
We have a lot more guesses coming in, Brian.
Yes.
Somebody says, Bridget Ann says, after his dog.
Oh, good guess, but no.
Chris Mitchell said, Otto is 8. Yes. Day says, was it an old Disney character?
Nope, but getting a little warmer.
Andy Brown says, Otto Octavius.
There we go. That's the
Good job. Let me play the applause.
Yes.
Good job.
Dr. Otto Octavius, who, for those of you that don't know, is better known as Doc Ock, the arch nemesis of Spider-Man.
Yes.
So now that we have the head in place, eyes in place, this little mantle piece here, we're going to start adding the tentacles. Now, here's a little secret about drawing octopuses. Everyone knows
Brian,
that
I'm going to have to cut you off just because this is OctoNation and octopuses have arms.
Oh, thank you. You're so right to correct me, and I'm usually the one that corrects people. Yes, arms, of course, are on the octopus, and that has tentacles that run the whole length.
OctoNation would never let me forget it if I didn't correct you. So
yes, no, they're right to, right? This is an arm that has tentacles. You don't have to follow along. This is just for illustration
Ooh,
purposes.
it's so cool.
Right. So this is an arm. The tentacles go the full length,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm sorry, the suckers go the full length. And then, if I am correct, the tentacle is more like what you find those extra limbs on a squid, where the suckers are just more at the end.
Yeah, let me show everybody really quickly.
Yeah,
I actually have it right here. So I'm gonna bring the
great.
screen, but here's a squid right here. And so squids have 8 arms and 2 tentacles. They're feeding tentacles. So they go out and they grab the food and they bring it into its mouth like this. Yum. So those are the difference between arms and tentacles.
That's
It
right.
has this tentacular
So,
club.
tentacular. I love that.
Yes.
So we're going to start on the arms of the octopus, and this is really where you can express yourselves. Octopuses have 8, but in drawing them, you can certainly try to have all 8 visible, but I find that sometimes that can clutter up your drawing a little bit. In fact, Ursula, fun fact with Ursula, when they were animating her, she never really had more than 6 tentacles visible on screen, just to make it easier to animate. You could go through the movie and count tentacles, and you'll only really see about 6. But she still feels like an octopus.
And Ursula's just misunderstood, right? She's really a good sea witch.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Another thing about Ursula, for everyone watching, is that she is a Cicalia, which means half
Yes.
woman, half octopus. And so Cicalia is a Greek word for like an octo woman essentially. So that's another cool fact about Ursula.
Yeah, that'll be your vocabulary lesson for the day, Cicalia. So we're going to take that same curve here and just follow it all the way up, right? So almost like 2/3 of a circle. And we're going to go ahead and do that on the other side as well. Right? Follow that down. Now we're going to go a little bit further. And right here, where your 2 lines are intersecting, the line from the bottom of your initial circle and the line that cut it in half, go ahead and grab another line down like so. And it's really up to you. This is where you get to be the artist and decide, where you want that tentacle, or excuse me, that arm to go. I'm choosing for this one to be a little symmetrical. Symmetrical meaning that it's going to be the same on both sides. But you can certainly play around with that however you want, and really get creative. Right, so we have those 2 there.
Somebody asked, how do you spell Cicalia? Cecaelia.
Yes. Yeah, it's a tricky one.
We got people saying, Leslie said, Gabby, I think you're half woman, half octopus.
So you can see I'm filling in the space here between with more lines.
So how important is that you have the kind of like a cross-looking thing down the middle? Is that just to keep everything like because I know octopuses, they have bilateral symmetry, which means they're mirror image of both sides. So is that to make sure that they're just both equal?
Yeah, which I find for really just learning about drawing the animal is the best way to start. We're almost done here. I'm going to show you next how to kind of put it into different poses, so that you guys have the tools to really create your own octopus and put them in all sorts of fun situations. But yeah, for now, the cross is really just for instructional purposes.
Cool.
And with that bilateral symmetry, does that include the siphon, or do they just have one siphon?
They just have one on one side.
Yeah.
There was somebody in here that asked about Hank, and the fact that he was a septopus.
Oh,
Do you have some
Yes.
insider information on Hank and how it was animated?
I do a little bit, but just ancillary. I didn't work on that movie, but I do know that he was one of the most technically challenging characters to animate.
Hmm.
Again, because of the arms. It's a lot easier when you're building a CG character that has traditional bone structures. Like if we look at my hand, right, that you know where the joints are, and they're pretty limited, right?
Yeah.
So there's really only certain areas that you can move. Now, when you have an octopus, right,
Yeah.
and a lot more fluid, you got to put a lot more joints in there. And ironically, that's why he is a septopus,
Hmm.
because again, much like Ursula, one less tentacle still makes for a lot of time saved. So we got 1, 2, 3. We'll work on 4 and 4. Right. So here you can go here and get these two final little gesture lines, right? You can see they don't quite look right now. Right now he looks kind of more like a jellyfish, right? Because of these things are so skinny. These are just going to be the guiding gesture lines of the arms themselves.
And make sure you guys are
Much
taking
like it.
make sure you guys are taking photos of your process. It's always really important that you have photos of kind of like the process of your work throughout the without you
So
doing that.
true. So now we're going to go through and we're almost going to thicken up these arms here, right? So if you imagine the lines that we were drawing to be the center of the arm, the center line, and we're going to go through and kind of bulk them up a little bit. Like so. You can do that on this one, although I kind of like the shape. So on this one in particular, I'm just going to add to it.
Somebody says, "Is this baby Otto?"
It kind of looks like Baby Otto. And I'll tell you that this is how you can decide if you're drawing a full-grown octopus or a juvenile octopus, is by the length of the tentacles and the proportions, right? It's when designing a younger character, you're always going to make the head a little bigger and the other features a little smaller, right? If I were to show you a quick example of, someone like this, who we might recognize, he's got his little body here and here, and his feet here, and the big shoes, right? Rough Mickey. Like that. Now, if we wanted to make like a baby Mickey, make the head a little bigger, maybe make the ears a little
I
smaller.
feel like I'm watching magic.
And then it's the only magic trick I know. I can make pictures appear on blank paper. We're going to make the eyes bigger. And we're going to make the body smaller. Right? So the body will be smaller. The feet will be bigger. I have them kind of sitting down here. And the arms kind of here. But again, the change in proportion is really key in a lot of drawing. And you can see,
Could you move? Can you move the Mickeys closer to the camera just so we can see a
oh,
little bit more?
yes. Yeah, there you go. So those are kind of rough, quick sketch Mickeys. But just to illustrate the point, that proportion has a lot to do with describing aspects of your character. So, while this is a very simplified octopus, it looks younger because the tentacles the arms aren't reaching out as long as we see in more mature octopuses.
Awesome.
But I'll show you that difference once we're done here. I'm going to finish up, which we're almost done with this guy. Just kind of bulking up these arms. Like so. And we'll get to suckers in a minute, because those are important details on an octopus.
Yes.
And then we're going to go here with this last one and get that one filled in. Now this line here and this line here, I want you to extend a little bit more closer to the eye. And I'll tell you why in a second. But go ahead and connect that one. And these ones too can go a little deeper into. What that's going to do is give you the illusion, which that's really all that drawing is, right? It's an illusion. It's not physically a three-dimensional object. So we have to put in as many clues as we can as to what makes it three-dimensional. Mm-hmm. So by putting this line here, automatically makes it feel like this arm is in front of this one. By having the line go down, like we have it here, and forgive me if we're getting too technical or too advanced, but it never hurts to learn this stuff. By having this one go down and this one go up, we imply that we're looking at the top of the arm, which would imply that this one here, we're looking at the bottom, right? Which means we're going to be seeing, potentially seeing some suckers on these suckers. Does that make sense? You people, you guys want to comment in there if I'm going too fast or if I'm going too slow? We can modify this.
Lila says yes, it's magical. We got Hal saying illustrate the point. We got Tia Johns that says it looks so awesome already. I know that a lot of people are busy drawing, so they're not commenting.
Great. That's good. That's a compliment. It's like when no one talks during a meal. It means they must be liking the food.
Yes.
So,
Kyle says,
all good.
Loving the overlaps and great explanation.
Great.
Makes sense. Good pace. A little fast, somebody says, Kyle.
Okay. We'll slow it down a bit. No worries. So we'll give you all just a chance to catch up because we're going to be moving on to the suckers next.
I agree. Colin says, Brian, you should have your own ASMR drawing channel. It's very relaxing to hear you. Colin, how I met Brian, actually, I obviously came in contact with his work, but I watched him on live stream, and what I always admired about Brian was that he would connect with his community members for hours, and he'd go live and he would teach them. He would draw commissions, he would draw just different things, but he made time to answer young animators' questions, aspiring artists, for hours, and I would watch him sometimes 3 hours at a time, and I agree, watching from start to finish is magic.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, people tell me a lot that I'm like the Bob Ross of Instagram.
Take it.
Yeah, it's like, cool. I'll print that on a business card. But yeah, I do enjoy sharing what I know because it's the only way I got to where I was because artists before me would share their knowledge. So it seems only right to pay this stuff forward. And it's just really inspiring to see what everyone creates based off of what they've learned from me.
You are going to have hundreds of octopuses coming your way after this live for sure.
Awesome.
If not thousands.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. So let's move on to the suckers, which we're just going to do on this tentacle or this arm and this arm. And so one thing to know too about suckers on an octopus, and I'll move to this drawing here. It's a lesson I didn't learn right away, and I wish I did because it's super helpful. They just have 2 rows of suckers on the bottom side of their arm. Is that right, Warren?
Yeah, just 2 rows. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2 rows. You can tell my earlier drawings of Otto when I didn't do as much research, and they've got like millions and millions of suckers, and a lot of time wasted on there. So always do your research. Um, but fortunately for us, we know now that there's just 2 rows. So go ahead and draw one line, and this is kind of all emanating from one point at the top of the arm, and then another line like that. Right? So pick an imaginary, or even draw it, because this is a rough drawing. So don't worry that it looks messy. Sometimes rough drawings are the best drawings, because you can really see an.
Chris.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Chris says, Brian, how long have you been drawing professionally?
Professionally, for this this upcoming August will be 24 years.
So for those of you just now joining in, maybe you're not familiar with Brian. This is your first time learning how to draw. You were learning to draw from the youngest person that had ever been hired at Disney Animation Studios at the age of 18.
Yeah.
And so what other movies have you worked on? Just to let the audience know kind of what you've...
Yeah. My first movie was Tarzan. So that was the first movie I got to start on. And then I worked on most every movie between Tarzan and Frozen 2.
Wow.
So it's sometimes easier to name the movies I didn't work on, which would be Mulan and Lilo and Stitch, because those were both done at the Florida studio. And I did not work on Frozen 1 because I was working on Big Hero 6 at the time.
That's so awesome.
But all the other ones I was fortunate to have a part in.
We have Tiffany that says, can you move the image closer to the camera?
Oh, let me see. Let me see if I can move the tripod closer to the paper without it falling down.
Yes, you guys are learning from a legend for sure.
Legend in training. Thank you.
Always in training.
So and that's it really, because I came in, at 18 thinking, well, I'll do this as long as I can and then go back to school once it doesn't work out.
Claire says, I love pointing out your name in the credits with my girls. We're all fans in my house.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. So now we're going to make that other dot over here and draw 2 lines kind of coming down from it. And these will be kind of the roadmap for the suckers. And then what you're going to do on those curves that you just drew, you're going to draw circles again.
Do y'all see those little suckers?
Yes, exactly. So funny. Here, I think I can get even closer. And, this is kind of a small drawing. But ideally,
this is much
those
better.
Suckers.
Looks great.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. Those suckers are going to get smaller the closer they get to the end.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So you can kind of eyeball that.
So on an octopus, the diameter of the suckers closest to the mouth are big. And then as they go down the arm, you have smaller suckers. So just good to know for everybody else's drawing.
Yeah. And you can see how by doing that, it also gives you some more of those dimensional cues, right? Now this arm really feels like it's going away from the camera. We refer to what the viewer is looking at as being the camera. So I'm going to do that over here as well. Pardon my poorly manicured nails.
You didn't know that you're having this big debut, Brian.
I know, right?
But I understand everybody is stuck at home, so we really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Yeah, glad to. There you go. They're getting smaller, like that. And just if we were to like magnify that area, just so you guys could see kind of how I draw suckers, is I imagine them almost as little cylinders.
Good question, Claire. Claire says, are they paired suckers or are they offset from each other?
Oh, that's interesting. I always assumed they were in the images that I've seen that they're paired,
They're paired,
that they're
yes.
not offset.
They are paired, so every sucker is right next to the other sucker. And we
Um,
have Catherine, who says, met Brian and was introduced to Otto and Victoria at the San Diego Comic-Con. A true joy to meet him. Find a series book perfect for
yeah.
me and get it autographed. Thanks, Brian, for the sketch inside of the book. It's a great memory.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I always like when people are able to meet in person and are kind enough to buy a book. I like to give a little sketch.
So,
Um,
so yeah, they're
I,
side by side, so they're right next to each other.
right, right, kind of like that. This would be like a magnified view
Yeah, right there.
of what's going on here. Almost, I draw them like little marshmallows. Um, but yeah, when I sketch in people's books, I like to say that I'm giving them my autograph.
Ah.
So, a little dad joke for you there. Um, but this kind of concludes this initial like structure and drawing of an octopus. Just so you guys are familiar with the parts as we move on to the next drawing, which is going to be kind of like how to pose an octopus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so is everyone kind of good? Does anyone have any questions they want to clarify before we move on to the next kind of phase?
Are the suckers symmetrical as well on the arms? No, so they're bigger closest to where the octopus's beak would be, and they're smaller as they move down down the arm. Um, let's see.
Right.
It looks like Wally's eyes. Somebody says.
Yeah.
Um,
That's another character that has no real mouth, right? It's all in the eyes.
let's see. Arena says, I met him in Oceanside, California when he debuted his Otto and Victoria exhibit. He autographed some books for my daughter and I, and they're displayed proudly in our home.
Awesome.
Okay, I think we're ready.
Thanks so much. Yeah, that exhibit was really fun. So I was really grateful people could come out and see that. Cool. So now that you kind of know the general anatomy and you've worked out your first drawing, congratulations. You're awesome. You're all in the OctoNation now, if you weren't already.
Welcome to the club.
That's right. Coolest club. So now we're going to kind of pose Otto here more specifically. Now, Otto is an interesting octopus because his species is a giant Atlantic land octopus. Now, that's for some of you that know about different species of octopus, probably know that that's not a real species of octopus. But for in the world of Otto and Victoria, it sure is, because Otto is definitely real.
Yes.
But he is an octopus that lives on land. And I'm going to show you some fun things because octopuses, and there's plenty of cool videos online, when they move on land, they look really cool. I mean, if you thought octopuses were cool underwater, you got to see some of them because they can briefly traverse above the water.
For sure.
Usually in tide pools, or you'll see some where they accidentally get caught on a fisherman's boat and they're like slinking off back into the water.
A cool thing, a cool quick fact about octopuses is that they have cutaneous respiration. So a limited amount of oxygen can occur through their skin through something called passive diffusion. So they can't. So they can breathe through their skin. Of course, it's not sufficient enough to keep them alive for long, but they can still breathe through their skin. So that's another interesting thing about the octopus, especially those coastal species.
Yes.
So really, really cool to watch them move on land.
Yeah, my favorite octopus is the GPO, the giant Pacific octopus, and they're incredible.
Tanya said, would any more suckers be visible on the other arms?
Well, here, yeah, technically, And again, it comes down to artist preference, because what you could do is indicate, again, since these tentacles look like they're coming down. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
You can do little bumps on the bottom. Again, this is a simplified cartoony version, but you could take it to a more realistic version using these same principles. But that would give you the sense that they are still under there. Now, what you could do too, again, because the arm of the octopus is so complex and it's basically, they're just big muscles, right?
Yeah.
I think muscular hydrostats or something like that.
A hydrostatic skeleton, which is
yeah. So if you think about an elephant's trunk, is another example of a hydrostatic muscle system. And so these guys can really twist all the way around. And if you wanted to take like this tentacle here and draw like a line like that, much like Hannah Montana, you get the best of both worlds here, because you get the top side here, but then you can add some tentacles peeking out.
Nice. That's so cool.
Right? And again, because you have such a solid foundation of an underdrawing, you can keep adding and kind of expressing. Like maybe this one, we're going to add another one of those curves. I'll add another one here.
Yes, Tanya, thanks for the question. We didn't want you to leave you hanging with the suckers for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But there we go. We get our suckers coming in here.
I like how you can just change the dimension based on whatever line you draw, and just to start, working on that base. It's just like you just kind of added a line and immediately it took form. So it's just
isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's why it's so important. This is the most important phase of a drawing, is this underdrawing phase, because as solid as you can make that, then you can keep adding on top of it. And it just makes it, now we've made this drawing even more interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because to be fair, symmetrical drawings usually aren't the most interesting to look at, because they're kind of flat. But now by adding all these dynamics to the tentacle, to the arms, you get a much more dynamic drawing.
Really cool.
Finish that up. And that's where you guys can really express yourselves as to what arm is doing what,
Carrie,
and which way.
Carrie said, my artistically disinterested 11-year-old just drew for half an hour. Thank you for being so engaging.
Wow, that's amazing.
Carrie, tell her hi.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for drawing.
Thank you. Incredible.
Or him or her.
So let's move on. We're going to draw another circle here. All right, I'll get Otto's head. And I'll show you in a bit here. We can, depending on how our time is, after we do this one, I can show you some examples of more finished octopus art, and you can see how these sketches, though they seem cartoony and very rough, can develop into more finished pieces.
We got something that says, I haven't felt this accomplished all year.
That's amazing. So I'm going to go a little more handheld here with the camera so we can get close. So go ahead and rough in that nice circle there.
And I like how you said you're moving your whole entire hand when you do it.
Yeah, that's a big difference. That's really going to add a lot of sophistication to your drawing. And it's something that we can tell right away as professionals looking at, people who are trying to get a job in the industry. So, this sort of underdrawing and thinking.
And for those of you who are watching, how many of your children have aspirations to be an animator or an artist? That'd be really cool to know.
That would be.
Because he's telling you right now that when professionals look at your sketchbooks, they're looking for these rough circles or these shapes.
Yeah, we want to see underdrawing. We want to see thought process,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now, if we all have this circle here, what I want, instead of splitting this circle down the middle like we did last time, we're going to go and we're going to do more to the side, and we're going to do basically another, almost like a smaller circle within a circle, right? To get that nice line down the middle. This is going to be a cue that tells us that the sphere is no longer looking directly at us, but it's looking more towards screen right.
Nice. We have April that says, I'm studying at uni to become an animator. Awesome.
Oh, great.
Christy Walker says, I'm 9 and I want to. Rebecca
Awesome.
says, I'm interested in going into it. Kyle said, my daughter would love to be an artist and a scientist, she says.
Ooh,
My
cool.
partner's daughter would love to be an artist animator. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a cartoonist, said Carol, but I didn't follow through. I don't think it's ever too late, Carol.
That's right.
Let's see. Tia John says, I'm a disabled vet and took up drawing and painting for therapy. I'd love to be an animator.
Amazing.
My 14-year-old is an
Amazing.
aspiring, is it manga artist, and she uses all the
Yep.
guidelines. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I love manga art as well, or manga, and yeah, there you'll find some very talented draftspeople there, very technically proficient.
And
Um,
Bridget says, my 13-year-old is an aspiring artist. She's been lucky enough to meet Brian Oceanside. Thanks for being such an inspiration for teens. She's drawing along with you right now. Shout out to Haley. So say hi, hey
Yay,
Haley.
Haley. Hi, Haley. Thanks again for following along. Cool. So now we're going to take and cut this circle in half very flatly. So along the horizon. So instead of doing it vertically like we did last time, we're going to do it this way. Like that. And now, from this point right here, where your circle meets that horizontal line, just go ahead and drop down a slightly curved line, like so. And again, notice even with my lines, I'm not doing
Perfect. Yeah.
the slow sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm really feeling it out like that.
That's awesome.
And now, kind of right here where your curved line meets the bottom of the circle, do a little bit more of a curved line there, like that.
Christy Walker said, what are you drawing? I think he's drawing an octopus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this will be an octopus, but from a little bit more of an organic angle, a little more natural.
Yes.
Because the one we drew before was a little more orthographic, more for demonstration purposes.
Mm-hmm.
This one's going to have a little bit more character to it. And there's going to be a fun thing with this particular drawing that I would like to see you all do and share with Warren and I online.
Nice.
Okay,
so
there's
this is
going to
the
be
one
a...
that they're going to share online? Share the other one.
Yeah,
Share
well,
the other one, too. I love the other one.
Yeah, share them all. But there's going to be a specific artist challenge with this one.
Okay, cool.
That I want to see you all do. So now that we have that there, now we're going to connect these two lines with that same kind of shallow upside down rainbow or a smile, right? Give it like a smile face right there, connecting those two. Now notice, again, just to walk you through what we're doing here. We did a circle, then we split it in half, then we added this little cape shape to it. Notice that we did the same thing on this one, right? Circle, cut it in half, and then that little cape shape. We're just doing it in a different orientation now, so that has a little bit more dimension.
Adele says, are the endpoints of the two curved lines roughly the same?
Yes, please. And then give a little bit of an arc when you connect the two.
Okay.
Great question. And now we're going to go this horizontal line that you added before, kind of right here in the middle. We're going to draw a circle, but have the top of your circle touch that horizon line. Like so. And then kind of next to that one, draw another one.
There it came. Do you see the octopus?
There
guys?
it is. There it is.
There's a point when you start drawing that I immediately begin smiling because I see the octopus.
Right.
I'm like, there
right.
it is, there it is. I see the octopus.
There it is.
Because before I was just like, I don't know what is
right.
this?
It's amazing how that stuff comes into focus.
Yes.
So now that you have those two there, they can overlap a little. Go ahead and we'll do our little happy Otto eyes in there.
Aww.
Between there, like so. And now we get to do the guidelines, right, for our arms, the arms of the octopus. Now, here's the thing I wanted to show you, too, with this version. When we drew here...
Patricia said, I'm seeing a very funky Vader mask.
Oh, I see that, too, now that you mention it. That's hilarious. It's looking like... hold on. I think I see what she sees. A very happy, funky Vader. Hilarious. It's a Vader puss.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Yes, I see that too. Amazing. So now we're going to go through and add the guidelines for our tentacles. And these ones, go ahead and get really like fun and fancy free with, you know. They don't have to just be doing one curve like this one is. Mm-hmm. This one you can see is doing a little bit more of an S shape. And this one too, right? You really have them do whatever you want them. Now it kind of looks like a little bit of a skull, huh? Mm-hmm. Which is kind of cool.
Did you work on Coco at all?
No, I wish I did. I love that movie.
Oh, such a good movie. Such a good
but
soundtrack.
There isn't a lot. Oh, amazing soundtrack. There isn't a lot of cross-pollination between Pixar and Disney, even though it's the same company.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry.
We get to look at early versions of the movie and give feedback mm-hmm. and give suggestions on story and vice versa. But that's about it.
I know that you have colleagues from all over, so I don't know if they reach out to you and they say, "Hey, what do you think of this? I'm thinking of this idea." Because not only do you work for Disney, but you're at Marvel and Lucasfilm. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, get around a little bit. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arms here, and you can add more if you want. But let's start with this here, and go ahead and bulk these up, like we did the other ones. And just to refresh you, we're going to treat that line that we just drew as the center line. And so you're almost drawing 2 more lines around it.
Oh, so 2 more lines around the center line.
Yes.
Cool.
But you want all 3 of those lines to connect at the same point. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So we have Audrey Jenkins that says, "Would you do a full loop in the arms?"
A full loop in the arms.
I'm not too sure what that means either. Maybe.
Yeah.
And then
sorry.
Tiffany says, "Is erasing and trying again okay to do in this process?"
Oh, definitely. Although I would say don't worry too much about erasing. It's one thing that we, it's okay to leave the mistakes. I mean, if it's a huge one that you really want to erase, go for it. But don't feel like you have to. You know, you can. That's why we work lighter to darker. Mm-hmm. But yeah, erasing is totally acceptable.
But I wouldn't get. I think what he's saying too is I wouldn't get too caught up in. Oh, I made a mistake. Let me erase it. Oh, I made a mistake. Let me erase it. Just kind of go
Right.
with the flow.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah, I think that that's more it, because as soon as you start doing that sort of thing, you run the risk of potentially freezing up
Mm-hmm.
and getting caught up on one detail. And right now, we're really working on just getting the shapes in.
Mm.
And you can see I did something a little funky here, a little more advanced, where this was our initial line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I added one line here, but connected it to here, and then the other line connected it into there.
Mm.
And that's just something, by default, after drawing a lot of octopuses, that I can just kind of do automatically.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a way, again, to show that kind of twist.
Oh, Jane says for the loop, I think she means like an arm curls into a full circle.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Here, we'll do that with this one. So this curve, we'll have go here, and then we'll just add the thickness to it, like so, and then have the other end of it come out the other side. A little octopus roller coaster. Like so. He's kind of flexing his muscles there, showing how tough he is. So now that we have that all, I'll give you a second for all of you to kind of catch up, and then we'll start adding the suckers. And then after, just so you guys know, after we do the suckers, I'll give you your special art challenge for this drawing. So now we're going to go through and add, figure out, I guess, look at your drawing and figure out which arms you want to see the suckers on. And which,
Darlene says,
yeah.
can you review that loop again, please?
Oh, sure. So basically, I started with the guideline that goes around like a loop, like so. And then I added a second circle to kind of, or a second line to follow that loop to indicate the thickness.
You have Lila that says, I need to buy blue artist pencils. Do you recommend a certain kind?
Oh, yeah, definitely. These are my favorite. I've been using them my whole professional career. This is not an ad, but they're Prismacolor Colorase. And you can get them on Amazon. And you do want to get this blue color. There's several shades of blue that they offer, so but this particular one that is just
244 the exact shade, or
I think it might be.
Okay.
I think if you Google 244 blue, it'll probably bring this pencil up on Amazon. And then what I'll do is add another line in there so that we have some overlap. So it looks like this is a real tube. And again, what you're learning here is kind of advanced stuff, but it will really help the sophistication of your drawing, is to really think from the inside out of a drawing. And I'll show you with this one too. I'm going to bring out the black pencil, and you can either go darker with your pencil or get like a Sharpie or a dark pen to pick out some fine lines.
We have Carly that says, why do animators always use blue pencils?
I think they're a softer pencil. There's a softer lead, right? So if you think of like a number 2 pencil that you would use on a test or something like that, that can tend to be a little hard and not as conducive to finding cool shapes like this. There's a feel aspect to it. There's a bit of a psychological aspect to it, whereas it's easier on your eyes when you're looking at drawings all day to look at something that's not as high contrast as black on white, right? And then the technical reason is back in the day, you would draw in these pencils because these pencils don't photocopy. They're called non-photo blue pencils. And so what would happen is a rough animator would do their rough animation, or in comic books, the penciler would do their pencils in this color. And then the cleanup artist would go in with the dark pencil or ink and do all the inking lines. And then when they were Xeroxed or photocopied to go onto the cells, the blue, rough blue would just go away. So that's not really an issue anymore. So it's more of a holdover of why people use blue.
Yeah, we had Day mention blue isn't picked up by copier. So photo blue is an old use for editing, copying in black, and day photo markings and graphics when people still cut things out and piece them together.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
Catherine Day said, "Run." I think you heard the. Chef Run.
So let's go ahead and add some curves here for the suckers. And that's just picking areas that you want to have the sucker side show.
We have a couple people saying, "Can we take a bathroom break?"
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm good. Let's take 5. Pencils down.
Pencils down. We'll take 5.
Yeah.
Y'all go run to take a go get something to drink. Stretch.
Yeah, we'll probably just be a half hour more.
How do you like stretch? Do you get up every now and then? Do your kids have to come in, or does Willow have to come in and be like, "Dad, get up"? Does your dog? How does it?
Yeah, I have to remind myself because I can get lost in this stuff and go for hours. But I do. I am very good about doing my hand stretches, which I can show you guys some of those because those are important. Sorry for the messy desk. Let's see here. Set this up. Get this here.
And for those of you who are wondering, this recording will be on YouTube. So if you didn't catch it from the beginning, or you had to leave for whatever reason, I know life happens. But you can definitely watch it again on Facebook or on YouTube. And I believe that the recording is going to be a bit better quality, only because it won't be streaming. It'll be a higher end recording. So look forward to that as well. So show us how you stretch, Brian.
So the easiest one is you ball up your fist and then you stretch out your fingers and your hand as much as you can. Right? So that gets you, because when you're doing this pose the whole time, this gets it all stretched out. So a couple of those are really handy. No pun intended. The other one, I don't have as much space, but it's basically using your other hand to push your hand down at the wrist to stretch that muscle. And then you do the same up like that. So doing that combination is really important because I've had too many friends who have had to stop drawing or had surgery and that sort of thing because they didn't do their exercises, they didn't take breaks, and that carpal tunnel is a real thing. So
you've really taken care of your hands throughout the years.
Yeah. Knock on wood. So far, so good.
Nice.
And just taking those breaks and doing those exercises.
I don't know if you can see me, Brian, but I'm wearing a big rainbow-colored squid hat, so everybody's commenting on that.
Awesome. No, I can't see you, but I can imagine.
Lila says, love the dad jokes. You got Chris says, by the way, while we're on break, thank you so much for putting this on. Thank you all for showing up. Me and Brian both wanted to create a productive distraction. We know there's a lot going on in the world, and so to just regroup, get creative, get inspired, draw some octopuses. Sundays are for drawing octopuses, so let's all draw octopuses together.
Amazing. I'll show you guys a little bit while we're waiting for people to get back. This is the desk I'm working on. This is always kind of fun. You can see here, this is a very messy desk.
Somebody said messy desk or something. Said, who was it? Said messy desk, brilliant mind or something.
Oh, well, then I must be a
Oh,
genius because this thing
messy
is.
desk, magnificent mind, and that
Oh,
that was
okay.
Tia Jones.
Yeah. So this desk, I'll pull back for a wider view so you can see it. This is actually a artifact from the Disney Animation Studios. This is a layout desk that the animators would use back in the day when everything was hand drawn. This was the desk I started on, mm-hmm. And when I had the opportunity, I was able to buy a similar one for my studio, and they're super cool. You can tell those like Art Deco kind of rounded corners. These were actually designed by the architect that designed the animation building.
Awesome.
So that's a little bit. You can see my Copic markers for when I do commissions and acrylic paints, that sort of thing. All my nerdy stuff.
Wow. And so when you buy products, do you buy them all at once, or do you collect different colors as you need them, or does anyone else have any questions about his desk? Definitely ask in the comment section. Somebody said, "I feel so honored."
Oh, thanks. This is fun too. You can see like these desks are amazing because they were designed for the artist in mind, right? Mm-hmm. So look at these shelves, right? You got all the spaces here for different pens and brushes.
Yeah.
You have all these drawers built into it, which is really great.
I'm sure there are people whose OCD is going crazy right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, Brian, please let me come in your house and rearrange everything.
I know. Look how isn't this awful? Yeah, it's
so
bad.
Chris says, "Are you a Legion player?"
I am a Legion player. Yes, sir. Yeah, you can see some of my. I just finished painting these guys here.
Tamara says desk envy. Kim says I have desk envy. Hal says storage. Let's see. Gemma says from Ontario, Canada. Thank you from my 7-year-old son. We are geeking out about Betamax.
Oh, amazing! This is really cool too. I have to show you this piece that fan gave to me at a convention. It's an Otto and Victoria cut paper piece.
Aww.
I just love it. It's so incredible. She makes all this. This is kind of her style of artwork, where she does these shadow boxes, and I just love it.
Day says it's a beautiful mess. No organization needed. Perfect as is. Hal says it doesn't look that messy. Yeah, it's organized chaos. Let's just call it that.
There you go. I know where everything is.
Yes. Awesome.
Cool. Good. Should we get back into this?
Let's get back to it. It was a great break.
There you go. Great. So yeah, we left off kind of just doing our curves for where we wanted the tentacles to go. And remember, we're just going to do little circles following those curves. They're getting smaller as they go towards the end. Wrapping around.
Oh, we have a question. A lady's daughter had an earlier question about how old Otto is, and now I'm curious myself about the age of both Otto and Victoria.
That's a very good question. I think Victoria is in her early 20s, and Otto is a mystery. I'm not sure. I know she's her age because I'm currently working on a draft and outline for an animated feature of the two of them.
We cannot.
So oh my gosh, wouldn't that be amazing? So I've had to figure out some of those details. But one of the fun things about the current version of the story for the movie is that Otto really is a mysterious kind of character. And
those mysterious happy eyes.
Yes, exactly. And Otto, we come to find out, knows a lot of people. Otto's been around and has a lot of friends in a lot of places. and Victoria kind of discovers this along their adventures.
That's so awesome. Tamara, she goes, squee! Yes, I'm geeking out too. I'm just as much as a fan as everybody else. I think Brian's even a fan of Otto as well. Just how cool he
Oh
is.
yeah, I love him. I love him. Um, cool. So now that we have our rough drawing finished, and it's a little bit more of an angle, let's go in with the darker line. We're going to kind of pick our favorite lines. So either go darker with the pencil you're already using, or grab a Sharpie or that sort of thing. And we're just going to go through, and again, still feeling out these shapes, but just finding the ones we like. And like this here, right? Like I'm not going to connect the circle all the way around. I'm just going to have it go more like a backwards C.
So now you fill it in with a darker color.
Yeah.
Is this when you're making like final decisions on where you want?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, like what tentacle is in front of, or what arm is in front of which one. So this one's going to be in front, so it's going to curve out a little bit more. This one here. And again, because we've spent this time, so much time on the rough, this part tends to go a little quicker.
Mm-hmm.
But don't do anything up here yet, because that's where we're going to have our little art challenge. Just kind of finding your lines. Like so. And then this guy here. And once you're done with this, you can decide if you want to go through and erase the blue line, make it that much cleaner. I tend to like stuff with the rough drawing still showing. It makes for kind of a warmer, more lively drawing, but that's up to you. We're going to have this line go up a little higher and have the big shape go behind it, right? So it feels like that's going back in space.
You can't help but smile when you look at.
That's awesome. Okay, now for the artist challenge, what I'm going to leave you guys with, a little bit of homework for this lesson, is I want you to add whatever kind of crazy hat you think Otto should be wearing up top here. So it can be a top hat, it can be a wizard's hat, it can be a construction hat, whatever. I want to see your artistic interpretation. Could be a beret, if he's an artistic Otto. You'll notice, too, that I've only drawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tentacles.
Mm-hmm.
So there is room, if you want, for extra credit in addition to the crazy hat. Figure out what the other arms could be doing and maybe holding. So that's going to be homework is crazy hat, extra credit is extra arms holding funny stuff.
Jeff says there's the 244 erase well for using as the underlay for watercolor painting.
Oh, say that again.
If the 2044, the blue one, does it erase well for using as the underlay for watercolor painting?
Oh, yes, it erases very well. And you can see what's nice about these ones is they actually come with eraser, but you can see I've made a lot of mistakes. And so the eraser is pretty much worn down. What I recommend for erasing is going online and getting one of these Mars plastic white erasers, because these ones erase the blue really good. And you can find these on Amazon as well.
And the black pencil that you're using, what is that?
That's just a Faber-Castell artist pen, and I love this one. 6B. Really, the important thing is look for 6B pencils.
Okay.
The brand isn't as important, but 6B is a really dark and soft lead. These don't have erasers on them, so don't mess up.
Or just keep going.
Yes.
We have people saying, thank you so much for doing this. Gabrielka says, this made my whole quarantine. Thanks, Brian.
Oh,
thanks, King.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Do we want to show them some of the potential prizes they could win?
Yes. So for those of you who tag us, hashtag OctoNation and hashtag Brian Kesinger. Or you can send an email if you don't have, social media, or,
right.
You can always send it to hello@octonation.com, and we'll feature some people. But we have some prizes for those of you who are watching that show us your work, show us your homework, and we can't wait to see. So
yeah, we have 3 prizes. So we're going to pick 3 of our favorites from what you guys share with us. One person will win this fun little Otto sticker at the typewriter there. And then another person can win this fun patch, this Otto patch. And look at this, just so you guys know. Look at that circle.
I'm trying to get you on the right side. There we go.
Look at the circle.
Uh-huh.
Look at the lines going down,
Yep.
the 2 circles there, the arms. You can kind of see how what we're doing really transfers over to a finished piece. So there's the fun patch. And then finally, one of you is going to win one of my little baby Otto plush.
I'm going to get to all of your questions. People are freaking out. They saw the prizes, and all of a sudden everyone is just like, okay, wait, where, how, what, when, how do we upload?
Right.
Okay, show them the
Right.
plush, though. I will answer all of your questions. Don't worry about it. Everyone will know where to submit. But look at this Otto plush toy. That is the cutest thing you've ever seen in your life.
Isn't that great?
Yes.
And there you go. Again, what we talked about proportions, right? Back with Mickey, how you make certain things bigger and other things smaller. So bigger head, bigger eyes, and really small tentacles.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So for those of you who are just now, there's somebody who said, I just joined. Definitely watch the replay. The replay will be up on YouTube, will be up on Instagram and IGTV, and up on Facebook. So we have all the bases covered. For those of you who are wondering, where do I submit, or how do I submit the drawing? If you use hashtag OctoNation and hashtag Brian Kesinger on Instagram, that will allow your drawing to be viewable by Brian and I. So do that. If it's on Facebook, you can tag us. You can tag at OctoNation or at the art of Brian Kesinger. Or if you want to make sure that it gets through, you can go to hello@octonation.com. Just submit it there, and I'll be showing some of them in our group. I'll be showing some of them on our Instagram page. So we're really excited to see your work. And for those of you, it's going to be more random than anything. So this isn't a competition for who draws the best or the wackiest, or the wackiest or whatever. So just know that it has nothing to do, if you didn't win, it has nothing to do with your drawing. And there'll always be opportunities in the future to win stuff from me and Brian, because Brian has graciously worked with OctoNation the past 2 years on World Octopus Day. It's been a blast, and we're always doing really fun giveaways. But for OctoNation, I'm definitely going to be giving away some stickers to people. I have these really cool, fun OctoNation stickers. And then also some T-shirts. The Largest Octopus Fan Club,
awesome.
OctoNation. So yes. Somebody says, can we submit a rough and a finished one, or only one? However you want to do it. You can, submit both or just one. We have some questions coming in as we were both talking.
Yeah.
Let's see. Thank you guys so much for reminding me how much I love drawing. Sure thing. Gabby says, mine lives in my car. Glad I took some notes during the video. Oh, the plush, so people are Wanda says, is Otto going to participate in Quarantine Halloween on Tuesday? I haven't heard of that.
Oh, oh yeah, that's
What's that?
everyone's talking about doing like Halloween in quarantine
Okay.
coming up. So dressing in costume, doing all that sort of thing. It's a really fun idea.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Otto and Victoria will both be participating in
Is that
that.
a Mickey hat or what hat are you putting on him?
Yeah, I think that's a little Mickey Sorcerer's hat.
um, Irina says, I need this, says my 8-year-old. Robert says, Tia Johns. Okay. Christina says, I already won. A great experience. Thanks a lot. That is the
Oh, that's
attitude.
amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
We have an automatic winner. Direct message me on OctoNation. I'll send you some stickers.
Yeah, that's really
Um,
nice.
that is the attitude.
Yeah.
Laura says, until when can we submit? Is there a deadline? What should the deadline be?
How about
Hmm.
how about by Friday?
By Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
People are like, I don't know if I
It-
can wait that long. But Friday it is.
or we could do earlier. I was just thinking because today's Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So hard to keep track of the days.
Yeah.
What do you think? We could do Wednesday. Is Wednesday better?
No, I think giving people a lot of time to
Yeah,
perfect
because
and
then
draw it.
people who can watch the video after the fact have a chance too.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I think a week's fair, and then that gives you some time to do some more stuff. So
For sure.
we'll do Friday.
Cool. So Faye says, thank you so much for this experience, guys. I've submitted my drawing. Whoa.
Whoa!
Dang. Already
Amazing!
submitted. Great job. So Siobhan said, I haven't drawn in years. This has been wonderful. Um,
Yay!
D says, tell us how to submit again. You could submit using hashtag OctoNation or hashtag Brian Kesinger on Instagram, so it's visible. So for those of you, I can just pull up Instagram really quickly. Um, just so I can show you what a hashtag looks like. For those of you who are just like, I haven't hashtagged anything in my life, because I understand that is a thing. So do you see that? Hashtag OctoNation. That's what you would put on your photo there, or you could do this. That would be on Instagram. Or you could just submit an email to hello@octonation.com. Love that one. I think maybe you should finish that one off and include it in a prize or something.
Oh, that's a good
That'd be really
idea.
cool to have the exclusive one from the
Oh,
draw
yeah.
off.
Okay.
That's a
So bonus prize just added. We'll take two more winners.
okay.
Eventually, that will get this, and this one.
Yes.
As the yeah, great idea.
That's
Yep.
that's historic. So you'll have the ones that we did the official How to Draw an Octopus event with Brian Kessinger. He
Yes.
will finish them.
Great
Tia
idea.
John said,
Great
"Yes,
idea.
Warren. Yeah, thank you." Rebecca says, "Does that work for private accounts too?" Yes, it does. Um, and Rebecca, if you have any any hesitations or whatever, just email it to hello@octonation.com. I'll make sure that I see it and you're heard. So.
Yes.
Kim said, "This is the best Sunday ever. Thank you so much." Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Mercedes. She's calling me out. Why? How dare you? I was afraid that somebody was going to do that. I said, Warren, how does your drawing look like? Uh,
Oh.
so I was just kind of messing around because I was fielding questions. That was more important. I
True.
don't know.
True.
Brian can't even see my drawing, but
No, I can't. But I will
I'm not
later.
finished. And mine kind of looks like a vampire squid. This one, this is my other one. I tried. Your children will probably have better drawings than me, but it's all good. I'm gonna rewatch this one too because I did a test check yesterday and I told people I was like I don't think I've ever drawn an octopus and I was like this will be my first time ever learning how to
Oh,
draw one
cool.
and I was like so I'm gonna have to rewatch this video and follow those lines and keep practicing Audrey said, "Good effort, Warren." Somebody said that looks like Cthulhu.
Oh, nice.
This has worked wonders, pulling me out of my quarantine funk. Thanks, Cameron.
Oh,
If you go to Brian's Instagram account, or you go to my Instagram account, we will keep you busy with majestic drawings or majestic cephalopods, because for those of you who aren't following OctoNation on Instagram, what we do is we inspire conservation of the ocean by teaching the world about octopuses. And so there are over 300 different species, and this is probably another fun drawing challenge after you've drawn these, is to start drawing different octopus species. So there's the blanket octopus that looks like a floating rainbow through the sea. There is the hairy octopus that has skin that looks like little hair-like structures. You have the sand octopus that can't change colors, so it blows itself a foot underground, secretes a mucus to reinforce the walls around it, and then it creates a ventilation shaft with one of its arms. So there's so much diversity within the octopus species that OctoNation really feels like that we can inspire conservation of the ocean simply by teaching about the diversity and the magic that are cephalopods. So if you're ever in a funk, go to Brian's Instagram account or his Facebook and see what he's doing. I'm sure he'll be doing a lot more live drawings in the future. He goes live from his Instagram account every now and then. So if you really enjoyed this and hearing him talk about different things, he gives his followers an opportunity to follow him along and ask questions. If they're aspiring animators, if they're just a fan. I'm sure there's some of you who watch this that didn't draw at all. You just wanted to hang out, right? And so sometimes it's fun just to watch a master work, and I get that too. So Julia said, "I could listen to you all day, Warren." Okay, I'll do a 24-hour podcast. Thank you so much. Jacqueline says, "Thank you, Warren, for fielding questions and being a great ambassador for the octopus. I'm excited to learn and join OctoNation. We're excited to have you all." Another place that you can join, if you go to octopusfanclub.com. It's our group, and we have octopus fans, cephalopod fans from all over the world that share underwater photography. We have artists that do sculptures. I mean, Brian, you've been following for a long time in the group. You know that there's so much talent in OctoNation.
So much.
So
yeah.
And Brian is one of our cephalobrities. So we're so happy to have him a part of the nation. Any sign off or anything like that? Somebody said, "Do you accept commissions, or are your commissions open right now?"
Thanks. Yeah, commissions are open right now. There's a few spots left on my website.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to briankessinger.com, you go to the shop section.
Mm-hmm.
There will be all different prints, books under the original section.
Okay.
Of the shop is where you find the commissions.
Nice.
That's also the website where you can find out where I'm going to be and that sort of thing.
And also, if you don't want to wait till Friday to figure out if you've won the plush, Brian has some. Brian has some of those plushes on his website. So if you want to grab an Otto before then, so just go to briankessinger.com and pick one up.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they're there, and we have a couple full-size ones too. We're running low on the stock, but we have a full-size Otto plush.
Nice.
As well. So, but above all, thank you, Warren, for having me and being such a great moderator, such a great advocate for all of us, and to all of you watching, thank you. It continues to inspire me to create more art, knowing that there's so many wonderful people out there like you that enjoy it. So from the bottom of my heart and the bottom of Otto's 3 hearts, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Everybody, I hope you have a great rest of the weekend, the day that you have left. Make sure that you keep in touch with us, and we'll be looking out for your drawings. I'm excited to give away some stickers and some shirts, and we will stay in touch. Bye, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.